The Pitchsider. Pitchside for every game.
Hello and welcome back to the Pitchsider Podcast. Hope you are very well. And we've had game week 3 from the Premier League and a lot of other European leagues. We've had game week 4 from the Championship. A lot of dramas as we enter the first international break for the season. So we can have some time to reflect on what's happened in the Premier League, from some of the biggest upsets to some of the biggest news stories. We've also had the transfer deadline day, so we'll go through each of the leagues as normal and then maybe talk a bit about some transfers at the end. So as normal, let's start with any football that's happened in the UK. So let's talk about the Premier League. So this kicked off with Arsenal versus Brighton, which ended 1-1. We will come back to what happened with the red card in a bit. Brentford beat Southampton 3-1. Bournemouth beat Everton 3-2. Everton did go 2-0 up in this game. 1-1. Aston Villa beat Leicester 2-1. Forest and Wolverhampton drew 1-1. Man City got 1 against West Ham 3-1 with Haaland getting a Hatrick. Chelsea drew with Palace 1-1. Newcastle beat Tottenham 2-1 and Liverpool beat United 3-0. So let's go through some of the bigger games and some of the talking points. Probably one of the biggest points was the red card that happened in the Arsenal-Brighton game. So the game completely changed after Declan Rice was dismissed from a yellow card from the 49th minute for delaying a free kick being taken by Joel Veltman. The Seagulls defender could also feel lucky as he got away with without picking up a card himself. So with this, it saw Arsenal get a draw here. It unfortunately probably cost them the game. It was with, as they mentioned, with him getting a foul, but it doesn't look like it should have actually been a sort of an extra yellow here. So yeah, the FA has stated that the ban will stay in place, so he will be banned against Tottenham when the Premier League comes back. But otherwise, fairly decent result. Unfortunately, Arsenal have slipped up, so have cost them maybe the title and the form City are in at the moment. But we've still got a long way to go, so it still doesn't matter too much. But yeah, good win, good point for Brighton against one of the top teams. So yeah, interesting to see how this develops over the international break. But yeah, there's been a few referee mistakes already in the Premier League as they try to tackle this. I think this is something we're always going to have to live with in the Premier League anyway. But yeah, only time will tell. As mentioned, Bournemouth did come back against Everton, so it was 0-0 at half-time. Michael Keane and Calvert-Lewin went, took Everton up to 2-0, but then in the 87th minute, Everton did crumble, losing all 3 points to Bournemouth, and yeah, unfortunately not a good day for Sean Dyche. But yeah, definitely left them a bit shell-shocked, and how Everton still looking for their first win of the season. But yeah, it would be their first win in August for 3 years. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to get that. But yeah, Man City, West Ham. So Haaland obviously got a hat-trick, of course. There's no stopping this man. He's now, I think he's almost scored more goals than every Premier League team has in total in the season. But yeah, definitely interesting to see how he's going to go. If anyone can actually sort of compete with him. And yeah, if City do win, it's probably going to be him. Yeah, he's up to 7 goals now in the Premier League after 3 games with 2 hat-tricks. How do you just cope with him? He is a machine, as they sort of put it. But yeah, definitely interesting to see how he will, and whether he'll pick up any injuries this season or whether he'll keep firing hat-tricks in and week out. As mentioned, Chelsea versus Palace was 1-1. There was another referee dodgy mistake in here where Will Hughes probably should have been sent off for a red card. But yeah, didn't really affect the game. Chelsea were very good in the first half, but were poor in the second, and Palace were able to counter on that and get the goal through Eze. So Eze is now off the mark for many people wanted him to get off the mark. But the two biggest games with Newcastle versus Tottenham, I think Tottenham had a lot of the possession in this game, but only, again, weren't able to sort of carry on. So Newcastle maintained their unbeaten start to the season as they defeated Tottenham in a thrilling match. Packed atmosphere in St James's Park. The host took a 37-minute lead through Harvey Barnes' superbly controlled a tricky side foot finish after Lloyd Kellerman had done well down the left and put the ball back. Pedro Porro's shot had been deflected on the crossbar moments earlier. Half-time substitute Brendan Johnson only had his shot sliced. And yeah, I think if you look at some of the match stats, Tottenham had 65% possession to Newcastle's 34%. Tottenham had 20 shots, 6 on target to Newcastle's 9-3. And yeah, they were just very unfortunate not to score. But again, this seems to be the Tottenham we are coming to see, not taking their chances. However, Luis Diaz and Mo Salah continue to be Liverpool's outlet as they get another 3-0 victory over United. Manchester United always seems to lose against Liverpool. And yeah, massive mistakes cost them. Liverpool maintain their flawless start under new manager Slot as the outclass woeful Manchester United at Old Trafford. The visitors were on a different level to win so comprehensive that it would have bring renewal scrutiny on Slot's follow Eric Ten Hag. He survived the summer to win a new contract that last year during the FA Cup. But yeah, Trent had a disallowed goal for offside before Luis Diaz stuck twice in succession until Salah was able to score. So yeah, Manchester United just looked lost in this game. But yeah, interesting to see what they can bring after the international break. Having a look at the table, Man City and Liverpool are top with 9 points, with Brighton, Arsenal and Newcastle making up the top 5. Many teams still playing for, but Southampton and Everton are still in the hunt for their first point. But Everton, you've got to be very worried. 3 losses, -8 goal difference now. They should be a lot higher in the table than they are. Only time will tell. Manchester United sit 14th with 2 losses and 1 win. Chelsea sit 11th with Tottenham in 10th. Again, very still close, only 3 games in the season, but will be interesting to see how well this goes. Like a win can rocket you straight up the table. So let's have a quick look and run through some of the Championship, and we won't go into much detail into these games. Let's have a look at some of the games from here. So on Friday night, Queen's Park Rangers beat Luton 2-1. On Saturday, Burnley drew to Blackburn Rovers. Middlesbrough beat Cardiff 2-1. Norwich City beat Coventry City 1-0. Derby beat Bristol 3-0. Leeds beat Hull 2-0. Millwall beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-0. Oxford City and Preston North End was 3-1 to Oxford. Plymouth Argyle lost to Stoke City. Sunderland continued their unbeaten win with a 3-1 victory over Portsmouth. And West Brom beat Swansea 1-0. On Sunday, Sheffield beat Watford 1-0. So having a look at the table for the Championship, Sunderland are top with an unbeaten win with 12 points. West Brom sit in second with Watford, Leeds, Blackburn Rovers and Burnley all in the middle. Plymouth Argyle, Luton and Cardiff all sit down in relegation. So very worrying for Luton as they obviously got relegated from last season. As they look to sort of build on and hopefully come straight back up, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the way at the moment. 1 point from 4 games at the moment. So, yeah, going to be interesting to see how well they do. Definitely one to watch. Looks like we might have some different teams in the league next season, the Premier League, but only time will tell. Still a long way to go. So let's have a look at what's happened in Europe. We'll run through all of the scores from the weekend and then go through some of the tables, and then we'll go through some of the headlines as normal. So on Friday, Union Berlin beat St. Paul 1-0. Turin beat Valencia 1-0 and Inter beat Atalanta 4-0. In La Liga, Barcelona beat Rayo Vallecano 7-0. Atletico Club lost to Atletico Madrid 1-0. Espanyol beat Rayo Vallecano 2-1. Mallorca beat Lens 1-0 and Valencia and Villarreal was 1-1. In the Bundesliga, Borussia Mönchengladbach beat Bochum 2-0. Frankfurt beat Werder Bremen 3-1. Wolfsburg beat Hoffenheim Cologne 2-0. Stuttgart and Mainz drew 3-3. Borussia Dortmund and Werder Bremen was 0-0, and RB Leipzig and Bayer Leverkusen was 3-2. Bologna and Empoli was 1-0. Lecce and Cagliari was 1-0. Lazio and Milan was 2-2, and Napoli beat Parma 2-1. Deportivo Alvarez beat Las Palmas 2-0. Osasuna and Celta Vigo was 3-2 to Osasuna. Granada beat Sevilla 2-0. Getafe and Real Sociedad was 0-0, and Real Madrid beat Real Betis 2-0. Werder Bremen beat Augsburg 4-0. Bayern Munich beat Frankfurt 2-0. Fiorentina and Monaco, Monza beat was 2-2. Hellas Verona beat Granada 2-1. Juventus Roma was 0-0, and Udinese beat Como 1-0. There's no games from the French league. Monaco was 1-0 against Lens. Angers lost to Nice 4-1. Le Havre beat Orts 3-1. Reims beat Rennes 2-1, and PSG beat Lille 3-1. On the Saturday in Ligue 1, Brest beat Saint Etienne 4-0. Nantes beat Montpellier 3-0, and Marseille beat Toulouse 3-1. So having a look at the tables. In Ligue 1, PSG are top with 9 points, with Marseille and Nantes sitting in the top 3, with Lens, Monaco and Lille making up the top 6 after 3 games. Montpellier, Amiens and Saint Etienne are all in the relegation zone. In the Serie A, Inter are top with 7 points, joint on points with Juventus, Verona and Udinese, with Hellas Verona and Napoli making up the other top 6 teams. Bologna, Valencia and Como all sit in the relegation zone. In the Bundesliga, Werder Bremen sit top with Bayern Munich, RB Leipzig and Borussia Dortmund, making up the top 4, with Union Berlin and Borussia Mönchengladbach making up the top 6 after 2 games. St. Paul, Bochum and Hoffenheim Cologne is all with 2 losses from there. And finally in La Liga, after 4 games, Barcelona sit top with Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid and Valencia all making up the top 4, with Granada and Deportivo Alvarez in the top 6. Las Palmas, Seville and Valencia are all in the relegation zones. So having a look at some of the new headlines, Mbappe scores first 2 La Liga goals in Real Madrid's win. UEFA lowers price caps for away fans for European ties. Kane and Müller score record as Bayern beat Frankfurt. PSG and Lille continue their perfect start. Smalling is set to join Saudi pro club Al Fahal. Leipzig ends Leverkusen's 35-match unbeaten run. in the Bundesliga. Rafinha scores a hat-trick as Barcelona secure their win. Marseille sign Everton striker Montpellier. And yeah, that sort of rounds up everything that's happened in Europe. So if you've been hiding under a rock, you probably would have not noticed that the transfer window now has finished. But we will go through some of the transfers that have happened on deadline day, just from the Premier League and some of the international deals, from the big teams. And yeah, just keep you covered and give you, and that will sort of round up the rest of the podcast. So in the Premier League, Trevor Chalobah joined Palace on loan from Chelsea. Jadon Sancho joined Chelsea on loan. Brozier left Chelsea to go to Everton, whereas Raheem Sterling left Chelsea to join Arsenal on loan. Reece Nelson joined Fulham on loan. Matt Turner joined Crystal Palace on loan. Carlos Forbes joined Wolves on loan. Maxwell Cornet joined West Ham on loan. Odsonne Edouard joined Leicester on loan from Palace. Carlos Soler joined West Ham on loan from PSG. James Ward-Prowse left West Ham to join Nottingham Forest on loan. Nottingham Forest signed Morta for 12.6 million. Android joined Wolves from Fluminense for 18.5 million on deadline day. Eddie Nketiah joined Arsenal for £30 million. Manchester United signed Manuel Ugarte from PSG for £50 million. Arsenal joined Neto on loan. Aureo Mangala joined Everton on loan. Aaron Ramsdale joined Southampton for £80 million. And Sam Johnson left Crystal Palace to Wolves on loan. Ivan Toney left Brentford for Al Hilal. And Wilfried Zaha joined Lyon on loan. Billy Gilmour joined Napoli for 16 million. Tammy Abraham joined AC Milan on loan from Roma. Scott McTominay joins Napoli for £25.7 million. Georgi Petrovic joins Strasbourg on loan from Chelsea, and Neil Maupay joins Marseille on loan from Everton. Some of the deals are still going through. So Kurt Zouma has joined Al Holba on loan from West Ham. And yeah, as some of the windows still sort of climb, there will still be deals about in the different leagues. But yeah, as of the main leagues go, that's all done and dusted for now. So that sort of wraps up this week's podcast. So thank you for listening. I hope you've had a fantastic week. Enjoyed all the football. We will now look forward to some of the European matches, and hopefully none of your big players get injured during this international break. So thank you for listening. Hope you've had a fantastic week, and we will see you next week. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
For all the latest news, transfers, and football articles, check out thepitchsider.com. It's the place to be. Contact us on our socials. Instagram and Twitter is @thepitchsider, or via email is thepitchsider@hotmail.com.